And a good afternoon from Bramlage Coliseum, the second round of the NCAA tournament in the books, and so too is the season for the Kansas State Wildcats as they are upset on their home floor. The fourth seed Wildcat women falling to the number 5 seed Colorado 63-50. This is your post-game reaction live on scene. I'm Dan Lucero from 580 Sports Talk. This is the 580 Sports Talk YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. If you are watching on YouTube, if you're watching us on Twitter at 580 Sports Talk, or if you're watching us on Facebook at WIBW News, however you're tuning in, thank you for watching. Not the show, maybe if you're a State fan you wanted to see, but for the second year in a row, Colorado goes on the road and wins a round of 32 game, and the Buffaloes advance to the Sweet 16 for the second straight year. K-State still looking for a fourth all-time Sweet 16 appearance. They haven't been past the second round since 2002. And frankly, I thought that was a big part of the story of the second half of this game, as Kansas State led by 2 going into the locker room, but in the third and fourth quarters, Colorado took control. They outscored K-State 30-15 in the second half, and a big part of it, I thought, was a team that was a more veteran team than Kansas State, more seniors and grad transfers, particularly coming off the bench. And a team that had been in a game like this and won a game like this last year against a team that hasn't gotten over that hump. And I thought that was really telling at the end of the day in this matchup. When you look at the players who were influential for the Buffaloes in the second half, coming off the bench minutes in particular. To me, Sadler was a game-changing performer for Colorado. She had 8 points in the third quarter alone and ended up with 10 points in the contest. That's a senior coming off the bench. Junior Kendall Wetta coming off the bench, played a big role, played a lot of minutes for Colorado last year. That's another veteran player. Sarah Rose Smith, a senior for Colorado, coming off the bench. Charlotte Whitaker, grad transfer, coming off the bench. Compare that to Kansas State, the bench minutes they got from redshirt freshman Ziana Walker, or redshirt sophomore Gisela Sanchez, or a freshman in Taryn Sides, who Jeff Minnie, I don't think really trusted to bring out there in the second half, or Eliza Maupin, a sophomore who hardly played at all in the second half. You lean on experience and depth in games like this. You lean on veterans to pull you through, to change the energy of a game, and Colorado could do that, and Kansas State, in contrast, really couldn't. And that allowed Colorado to take firm control in the second half. There will be a lot of talk about a game-changing moment that occurred about midway through the third quarter with the game tied at 39. It appeared, the call on the floor was that Jalen Sherrod, Colorado's outstanding point guard, which grad transfer, again, another veteran player for J.R. Payne's Buffaloes, appeared to have fouled K-State's Serena Sundell, but Sherrod strenuously objected to the call on the floor and politicked her way to a video review. I jokingly went to my game notes, my Colorado game notes, to wonder if maybe she's studying to be a lawyer. And actually, yes, Jalen Sherrod is a criminal justice major, and put some of that to good use, it appeared, arguing her way toward a video monitor review. It looked live like the contact was a result of Serena Sundell being a full 6 inches taller than Jalen Sherrod, but whatever the officials saw, it ended up being a long video review, about a 5-minute stoppage in the game. It was enough to compel the officials to call the flagrant foul on Sundell and give Colorado free throws. Maddie Nolan made them both, and Colorado never trailed again in the game. From that point on, it was all Colorado. They finished the third quarter on a 13-3 run, led by 10. K-State batting down the hatches on defense. They really deserve a ton of credit for how they defended Colorado. They limited the impact of Aaronette Vonleh in the post, held her to just 9 points on 4-14, held the Buffaloes to 35% shooting, turned them over 15 times, and held them scoreless for 6+ minutes to start the fourth quarter. The recipe was there for Kansas State to make a second half run. The only part missing was K-State didn't score either. They were only able to get it down to 6 during that stretch and could only get as close as 5 in the fourth quarter. Nothing would go in for K-State. They were just 6 of 27 from the field in the second half, 1 of 11 from 3. Three-point shooting was never K-State's strength this year, and it proved to be a bit of their undoing in this game, along with turnovers. And if it sounds like I'm talking about a Kansas State men's game, well, you're not the only one to notice that particular coincidence. 22 turnovers in this game for Kansas State. Colorado turned it over 15 times, but K-State turned it over 22 times. Point guard Serena Sundell alone with 9 turnovers. You can't have that from your point guard and win a game against a good team. And K-State found that out the hard way in this one. Aoka Lee struggled to get going. A lot of those K-State turnovers were entry passes that never got all the way through to Lee. Colorado was physical with her, defended those passes well. A lot of them were lobs or chest passes that Vonleh or a help defender was able to get a hand on and slap away. I don't know why they never tried some bounce passes into Aoka Lee. He only ended up shooting 9 times and never went to the free throw line, finished with 10 points and 11 rebounds. But Kansas State needed more from her because the supplemental scoring simply wasn't there. It was Gabby Gregory's 12 points who led them. Sundell had 11. Lee with a double-double, 10 and 11. For Colorado, they got 11 points from Maddie Nolan, 10 apiece from Sadler and Quay Miller. Miller had a double-double, 10 points and 10 boards. A final thought on the season that was for the K-State women. They finished 26-8. And though they are unable to advance to the Albany regional semifinal, where they could have gotten another crack at Iowa or potentially seen a familiar Big 12 foe in West Virginia, pending the outcome of that matchup tomorrow, you have to consider this season a success beyond just the record. And the record is impressive in and of itself. You get a 4 seed, you get to host NCAA tournament games, disappointing end, but certainly a great season by the numbers, by the standings. But this game was played in front of a sellout crowd at Bramlage Coliseum. And that, I think, speaks to the broader success that the K-State women had this year, connecting with the fan base, connecting with the students, connecting with the people here in Manhattan, and being a team that people wanted to watch play, wanted to talk about, wanted to turn on when they were on TV or on the radio. This was a Kansas State team that really resonated and really found, I think, a new set of fans. There were so many young fans in the audience, not just today, but in the first round game against Portland as well. Lots of kids, young girls like you would maybe think, but also lots of young boys too who were here to cheer on the Wildcats. And that support is not going anywhere. That's the kind of thing that you plant a seed like this Kansas State women's team did, and that seed's only going to grow. There's real positive momentum for this program. There are lots of players who have the potential to come back next year and really help this team. Maybe Aoka Lee's one of them. She does have one more year of eligibility if she'd like to use it, but lots of exciting young players. I mentioned them earlier that maybe this moment, this time, this year was a little too big for them, but Ziana Walker's going to get better, and Taryn Sides is going to get better. And even your juniors this year, the Glens and Serena Sundell are going to get better. And this team will be loaded up again next year to make another run in the Big 12 Conference and maybe make a weekend here at Bramlage Coliseum for the first 2 rounds more of a frequent occasion. And if they do it, they'll do it in front of great crowd support. They'll do it in front of full seats. And that is a testament, I think, ultimately to just how much this Kansas State team meant to Kansas State fans. And that was a pretty cool thing to witness this weekend. But the season is over, 26-8 for K-State. They are eliminated. Colorado moves on, and I'm telling you right now, folks, they can beat Iowa. I know Kansas State had already beaten Iowa this year and would have felt good about a potential rubber match against Caitlin Clark and company, but that Colorado team is ferocious defensively. They're extremely tough. They're extremely physical. They are a trip to the dentist office to play against. And Kansas State found that out here today. And somebody, whether it's Iowa or West Virginia, is going to find that out in the Sweet 16. So no shame in losing to a veteran team like Colorado, and no shame in this season. Just disappointment that it does come to an end with this final loss here in round 2. And that's going to do it for our Kansas State Instant Reaction. Thanks for tuning in, whether you watched on our YouTube channel. Subscribe, 580 Sports Talk. You checked us out on Twitter at 580 Sports Talk or on the Facebook page, WIBW News. Hope you enjoyed it. And we will talk a little bit about this game and all of the other NCAA tournament news that's fit to talk about, men's and women's, on Monday's edition of 580 Sports Talk. We'll be on the air from 2 to 6. Hope you'll join myself along with Brendan Dworzinski and Spencer Dupuis. Until then, I'm Dan Lucero saying good night from Bramlage Coliseum.